In order for that success and failure to be, is to get into this connection of our two sides. We want to play also that masculine game, but also where is our feminine game coming to the stage in order to support that game of leadership.
Yeah,
it's a total. I don't say that it's something right or wrong or equal. It's different, and the two can coexist, like they coexist in a couple relationship, let's say.
Yeah. In the previous part of our series, we were diving a little bit deeper into elite performance and what is it that allows elite athletes and Olympic sportsmen and women process the fear of failure, and how do they see the notion of success and discipline, and what are the mental techniques that they apply to outperform themselves and others constantly on a very persistent basis. I'm wondering if you try to open up that reflection now to a bit kind of normal life that we're in. What is it that we can apply from that world to the practices that we can learn from the elite performance, since the coaching as industry was actually inspired by the coaching that's happening in the sport. So the techniques are founded in the same principles. So what would be, kind of really diving deep into it directly, what would be top 1, 2, 3 pieces of advice that you would give to people to learn from elite performance for their normal life?
The mainstream attitude towards failure and success is particularly brutal in the world of elite sports. Listen to part 1 of this series to figure out what is it that distinguishes the golden medalists in Olympic Games from the silver ones, and what is the role of becoming shameless in achieving your goals.
So since I got into this elite performance level, and I started studying in a holistic system, like the physical, the mental, and the emotional perspectives. And as I said, there are others as well, but we stick as a foundation to that, the foundational base. I start observing this on the elite performance and on the competition. So I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, when there was the European Championship in football, and Belgium, in the country we now are, was a great favorite. All right. So they were performing great. They were winning the games. And here in Brussels, it was amazing to see like people from all the cultures. You know, Brussels is a very international city. So all people from various cultures and nations are coming and supporting the games for Belgium. And I was seeing the athletes, and they were amazing, and they were performing great. Really an elite level performance and collective teamwork. So there comes a game against France. And I was watching the game, and Belgium was trying, but was not playing at the level of the game that was playing the previous times against other countries. And then Belgium lost against France. I remember I did a Facebook Live that night, because for me it was like mind-blowing. Oh my God. So if Belgium feels infatuated against another country, so the Belgium football team feels infatuated, not because it's a reality, you know, you could see that Belgium was performing fantastically, but as a collective, the Belgian national team was feeling infatuated to the French football team, and that goes subconsciously beyond societal, cultural, historical backgrounds. So that infatuation would not permit to a high-level elite performer to win the other component, and that makes it's one of the components of maintaining that elite performance level and master that elite performance that we were discussing before. And I have seen this also in other games, also in Paralympic games. For example, the final of wheelchair rugby in Rio Paralympic Games against Australia and United States is a great example of who is going to be the winner. I would know their background, were kind of feeling infatuation, or was, the crucial player of that specific second of the game that could make the difference to the win. So Australia won. How to bring that now into the daily life? Let's say that you and me, we are in a team and we are in the same office, okay? And we have the same roles, okay? So we are not different status, we have the same roles. So our collaboration together, there are a lot of components. However, if I feel infatuated to you and I have you into a pedestal, and although you're gorgeous, you're very well educated, you are amazing at your work, and from my side, I make a judgment that I'm not good enough, I don't have so many credentials and all this, and I admire you. So seeing you as there at the pedestal and me like in a not very flattering for my spot position, I won't be able to move forward to my what I say as career goals. As long as that we perceive other people as more or less than us, our performance will be also guided subconsciously up to these components. And maybe we have the perfect strategies. Maybe we have people who support us. Maybe we have great credentials. If we don't see that performance level, whatever we perceive as more or whatever we perceive as less play out into our daily performance, our stress levels will go higher. We will very soon end to chronic stress, chronic pain, burnout, low performance, whatever it is. Our negotiations capacities will be. So if I was negotiating with you because I have you in that pedestal, I would always back off and be very soft and not my authentic self.
Yeah, which is where the inner work is obviously the crux of the game, and which is why also I'm doing the interviews as I'm doing them and trying to dig deeper. What is it that creates the leadership that we would like to see, and what enables it for the people that we admire for the results and style also that they bring into kind of the public arena. But you know what I've been thinking? You are also admitting that oftentimes this might happen to people who have excellent education, credentials, experience, they have the discipline, the mastery, they have perfect support structures around them. So I'm wondering, what are the triggers, or what is the tipping point that actually makes it possible for them to start peeling that onion and start looking deeper and see that and be willing to do the work? Because it's not like you would be underperforming in your life and you start, going through therapeutic experiences and trying to uncovering what are the self-esteem, self-love issues. These people are typically successful, which is where your previous share about the differentiation going from silver to gold is similar to this perspective. When you already have successful people, but there is this one missing piece that is somewhere hidden very far away from how they show up in their everyday reality. It must be pretty challenging to do the work, which is where obviously the mastering of the personal development techniques comes in. So I'm wondering, what's your insights there? What is it that enables this discovering that really the last mile of transformation?
One point to emphasize here that is crucial about how to maintain that success is, again, going back to what we're discussing, like why you want to be successful. Because when we perceive I want to be successful, you will very difficult admit also the failure. You will take it very hard, very deep in the heart. It will sabotage you. But when you are like a leader, an elite performer, an elite leader with a mission and a service, whatever comes in your way, you will perceive it as a milestone, as a step to your service forward, either it's a success or a failure.
Yeah.
So this will help you to supposedly succeed faster, easier, and maintain that. The difference, I believe, between elite leaders today is their sense of service and their sense of leadership. I could go deeper into, shadows and everything like that, but I would prefer we can discuss it another time. However, when your service is very authentic and it has a contribution to receive and give, of course, right? Because if you're there for a service to give to everyone, you're again in the shadow. You will be burned out very soon, stressed out, get collapse, actually get sick. But when you are in a service where mutually and authentically you give to the people that you want to service, your employees, your team, the society, the globe, but you also receive back as well that service, there is a mutual exchange, then you understand, you feel that you are congruent into your service, and success or failure, what you perceive as success or failure, will not make any matter to stop you from what you want to succeed. But if I want to succeed because I want to satisfy, I want to have a status, or I have this ego about identity and to be recognized with a status, or I have many cases like that. I want to make, my parents happy or whatever like that, or I want to prove myself. That's kind of one-sided, polarized, as I call it, polarized, like success and failure. You are in one side of the game, so the service is not very clear. So somehow you will break a ceiling, and therefore also relationships suffer, your team suffers, you suffer, and also other components of life. I believe that's the great detail to.
Yeah.
That nowadays, I think that we really need a lot in that elite leadership, because elite leaders also influence all the other people around them.
Of course, yeah. I would like to pick up on what you've said about the balance of giving and receiving, which relates to a big theme that I'm covering in my interviews, which is bringing out more of the feminine leadership in our society, and learning how to balance out and tap into the masculine and feminine leadership as the circumstances require and as we're able to bring out different parts of ourselves. I'm wondering, how does this fit into the conversation about success and failure and our ability to tap into different styles of leadership? Because especially as women, we often have a tendency to be growing up and educated with that masculine overachieving and discipline and focus and pushing through, which oftentimes would bring us to the burnout experiences that you are mentioning. So what is the leadership growth journey that we have to go through as leaders in order to be able to maintain that elite performance without burning out, and while being able to tap into the giving and receiving parts of ourselves?
I believe the first step is to be very clear and to be shameless, as we talked before, to be shameless about our highest priority, our highest value that we are pursuing. And this comes a lot from, for example, what we perceive that is missing into our life. For example, if I service feminine leadership, is because I see that there is something missing, or that we're doing against us as women towards the female style of leadership. So I see that there is a gap, there is a void. We try to become to behave like the masculine model of leadership, which can help us partly. However, since I see the void, then if my priority, my value here as a service is to influence the female leadership. So this is my big purpose, my big service, my gold medal. You see, I go to my gold medal, if you want to use this example with the sports athletes. So I'm going for my gold medal. Therefore, therefore, I realized that there is a kind of training and work to be done on that level. So therefore, I do a part of inner work, like the athlete that does his daily training. Therefore, also the masculine and the feminine energy inside of each person and in each relationship, and also in its collaboration. And also my relationship with my business is always kind of a negotiation between relationships. So in order to be able to receive and give that, it's really this balance between the feminine and the masculine styles, which the masculine can be very active and can be very direct, while the feminine can be very receiving, to be able to receive and to be able also to express and to express and to make this exchange of communication.
Yeah.
I believe that as female, we have much more, if you want, much more power in the feminine side, that we infatuate to and we compromise, and we are really shameful to put out there.
Yeah.
So in order for that success and failure to be, is to get into this connection of our two sides. We want to play also that masculine game, but also where is our feminine game coming to the stage in order to support that game of leadership.
Yeah,
it's a total. I don't say that it's something right or wrong or equal. It's different, and the two can coexist, like they coexist in a couple relationship, let's say.
Yeah, this is exactly what I want to ask you about. How can you do this very complicated transition from the masculine and feminine, from masculine to feminine way of being throughout the day? I don't know if you would be ready to share some of your examples, especially because we've shared about the relationship that we have with ourselves and how that shows up in our performance abilities and our relationship with the world. Now, in between that, there are our relationships with others and with our intimate partners in our lives, where the ability to shift from these different energy spaces and levels and ways of showing up is extremely important for the quality of the communication that we're having in the relationships, right? And so as female professionals who often tend to be pushed into that masculine overperformance throughout the day, for instance, if we forget ourselves and we go into the doing, overperforming mode, then it's rather challenging to switch and be the queen at home, right? Not even speaking about how you do the gentle dance when we are in lockdown and basically together all the time, right? 24/7, and you're supposed to be the goddess and the CEO at the same time. So how do you look at those transitions between different ways of leadership styles and ways of being? And how can you effectively, hack that and do that very quickly, in a heartbeat?
All right, yeah, I'll try, because it's really big. It's like a science. I could write. And somebody told me once, like,
let's write a book about it.
It has a PhD dissertation to write about. So in a nutshell, I would say, like, how we can use our feminine side to empower also our masculine side and the other side, and the other component. Imagine like there is like a magnet. There is like a magnet, and you are the masculine, and there is one side that is masculine and another side that's feminine, and you want to bring yourself in between, in the center. Yes. Where there is no right or wrong. There is this union where there is this, as I call it, like this gold mean, this gold balance, where there are no polarities. So neither this extreme feminine, neither this extreme masculine, where the two don't find communication, but you come into that union. We come to meet halfway. So how to do it? Firstly, like inside of us. So first of all, there is this intention, right? There is this desire that I want to do this. But the easier is to, if you have like a desire and intention. Let's go into the workforce. So you want to become that leader. Therefore, you have this clear why and value. So you want that gold medal. let's say that you want to be very good at your work. So you have this desire, that's your gold medal, that's your target, and this is a day-by-day game. Therefore, once you set that intention, you have, of course, that masculine side that does the thing about that desire that you set. So if the female side sets that desire, the masculine will do actions, your masculine side, which is yourself, to go and do actions that will deliver that, satisfy that desire. And then the next step is literally like to nurture, to open up the space as from the female side, to open up the space, nurture that, to give your approval, your consent, your consent, to say like, yes, I will participate in that. And then like the masculine side comes with the willpower of the warrior who is inspired, you know, not just motivates, wants to be motivated so that can deliver at maybe 50, 60, 70%, but the willpower, the masculine side of us that really gives us a warrior 100% of its possibilities. And once our female side sees that, oh, my masculine tries 100%, you know, like he tries to do also the dirty work. So it's that moment that our female side really trusts and is sure. The same that happens in a day in a relationship, but we are in the work now. So that moment that our female side will trust that willpower, that action of the warrior who is really in service. Okay, it's really important to be like in service and not in polarization. And the warrior will come and deliver to that feminine pure willpower for her desires, which is to be very good at my work. And at that moment is our female that is really necessary to open to receive what we call like unconditional love, to admit that this is what I want, and to really recognize that masculine side of hers, to receive what he brought to that side of hers, and to love it, to receive it, and to celebrate it. I cannot emphasize that enough, how few and how shameful we are about celebrations and about receiving. Consider it with a flattering, you know, you get a compliment, and most women will try to either to reject you or to not receive it, or say, oh, you exaggerate. And this is exactly not opening to this unconditional love. It's like our heart, the fourth chakra, where it's like the love to receivement of that proposal, compliment. And this is, I'm talking about healthy situations, okay? We can have examples of also toxic situations, of course, with healthy standards and boundaries. And once our female side celebrates that, then our masculine side, you know, that side of us who does, will be able to speak up about that, to speak up about the work that I do and I'm trying to improve. Like what happened today at office and it was very good. I will try to give those testimonials, those credits to myself and for my team that also help me to be better to my work. And that is like the expression, the voice. I also believe, as we have discussed before, thyroid in a lot of women comes due to the lack of expression, or be shameful to express ourselves, our authentic self, okay? And to express also our opinion and our desires. And once we manage to express our credits, our achievements, our desires, acknowledge the people who help us around us, acknowledge ourselves, of course, it's also very important to celebrate ourselves, then it is a mind-blown experience for our female side that once she took that recognition from her masculine side, you know, the person, the leader who does, once she gets this recognition and she says, and she really feels that, oh, I'm recognized, I'm acknowledged about all the heck of effort that I'm doing, then that female side of us will open up to that femininity, that intuition, that female leadership that we really, really need to see, because that feminine side sees the things that the masculine leadership doesn't see. She can see how the support can be assisted to that masculine leadership. She can see the systems that need to shift in order for more results to come in for everyone, for the benefit of all involved. And once also the masculine sees that blossoming and that expression, there is this beautiful union of that leadership that comes. This is the same what happens in healthy relationships or in healthy collaborations. It is very hard maybe to understand and to practice that at the beginning. It needs some foundational work. But I believe that if we have this model into our personal life, into our relationships, into our professional life, we can really facilitate a lot of our life and our progresses.
Which brings us beautifully to the last part of our conversation, which is, I feel, probably one of the ultimate challenges, which is how do you embrace this leadership and overperforming or not in the most vulnerable places of our lives where very little is under our control, such as the situations like wanting to set up a family with somebody. And for various reasons, you have brought this into our conversation about performance. So I would like to continue now with the conversation about your experience of surrender and performance in I guess, one of the most vulnerable places of a woman's life. Thank you for listening. I find it super insightful. I'd be curious to hear your main takeaways in the comments under this episode. Don't hesitate to obviously check out the other parts of this series so you get a full picture of Sofia's story and what she had to share. This series is available obviously on my YouTube channel, so go and hit the subscribe button to be notified about the other episodes as well. And obviously on the podcast Lives in Europe, on all major podcast platforms, Spotify, etc. Go to my website if you are curious where else to find it. And I'll be looking forward to exchanges with you and your friends who this may be relevant for on all social media platforms as well. So thank you, and thank you for your support as well. Bye.